Good evening, St. Louis. Welcome to a really late night episode of the St. Louis Spirits Show. This episode is so late because our Spirits are out west, and the game against the Golden State Warriors have just ended. Now, the Warriors came into this game with the record of 10-0, and you could probably guess that is the best record in the league. Now, our Spirits on the other end are far below that. 2-7, the worst record in the league. So it's David versus Goliath in this matchup. Now, the Warriors have won back-to-back championships, and it looks like they're on the road to a three-peat. Right now, no one's even close to what they're doing in the league, and they're led by two-time MVP Steph Curry. Now, before the game started, we got to talk to Coach Goodrich, coach of the St. Louis Spirits, and he said he's been preaching to his players KYP. Know your personnel. There are two players on this team that you cannot leave open. And of course, we know that to be the Splash Bros, Steph Curry and Klay Thompson. So if our boys can go out there and try to contain these two players, maybe we can get the Golden State Warriors their first L on the season. Now, when the Spirits stepped into the court, everybody in Spirits Nation noticed that our best perimeter defender, PJ Tucker, was not in the starting lineup. Actually, when we look further into it, he was not even on the bench. Now, we found out later that PJ Tucker had suffered a season-ending injury, and now KJ McDaniels will be stepping into the starting lineup. This is a huge loss for the Spirits because PJ, he was our glue guy. He was our best perimeter defender, and he was the veteran in the locker room. So he won't be there for the rest of the season. So guys like KJ McDaniels and some other bench players really got to step it up to fill that void that he has. Also, Pierre Jackson will be stepping into the starting lineup over Shane Larkin. This will be a second straight game starting, and this was the decision that Goodrich made because he believes that Pierre Jackson is a bit of a better defender than Shane Larkin. Of course, we need that defending going into this game against probably the best offense in the league. Now, when the game started, our boys were hot. Our boys were really hot. They started off on a 17-9 run led by Joffrey Laverne, and Joffrey was doing pretty much everything out there, scoring in every possible way. He really put his team on his back in this first quarter. He ended with 13 points and actually got some people into foul trouble. Bogut had to sit after about 5 minutes because Laverne has a great ability to draw fouls. And of course, Laverne is also like a 90% free throw shooter, so he turned those fouls into points. Now, the team also did a good job in guarding the high-powered offense that I mentioned. Steph did score the first 7 points for his team, but he was not very efficient starting off this game, starting off 1 for 6. Now, that's great. If we can continue that through this entire game, this game should be a really nice close game. Now, our starters did all they could, man. They put up a hell of a fight in that first quarter, but of course, they got tired. And the story of the season so far for our Spirits team is the lack of production off our bench. And that was the same thing for this game. Our bench players came in and let Golden State go on their own little run. So instead of being up by 13-14 going into the second quarter, we're only up by a couple digits. The second quarter was a complete 180 from the first. Spirits ended the first quarter with just 1 turnover, but by the end of the second, we had a total of 10. The second quarter was rigged with terrible passes and lazy dribbling. Now, the Warriors turned those turnovers into easy points, fast break points, 3-point shots. That's what this team does. So the beautiful offense that we saw in the first quarter by our Spirits became stagnant. We went scoreless for a very long time, and also the defense failed too. The Golden State Warriors went on a huge run, actually giving them the lead going into the third quarter. Let's take a step back. Think about the first game of the season against the Detroit Pistons. We saw our Spirits team pretty much be non-existent on the offensive side of the ball, but now we're just 10 games into the season and we can already see a huge turnaround. Now, second quarter is not a good example. The second quarter we were destroyed by this Warriors team, but the first quarter and the third and fourth quarter were completely different. Now, I don't know if our sudden offensive tempo jump is due to the players actually gelling and actually understanding who their teammates are, or is that because Coach Goodrich changed the offense? In the first game of the season, we had this motion offense, 3 out, 2 in motion, and we did not do well with that. But in the second game, it was completely different. Of course, we went to the option every couple of plays, but we had some set plays that had people coming off screens. Our shooters were actually getting open. Guys in the paint were actually doing their thing. Halftime, we have the score of 48-37 Warriors. Now, in the second half, Coach Goodrich preached his team to actually go out there and just play, man. I mean, of course, we did some plays, but he wanted them to just play their style of basketball, kind of give them some freedom when it comes to the court. And right here, nice open jumper coming off the screen for the guy that we thought was going to be one of the main offensive targets on our team, but he just really hasn't been playing well this season. Now take a look at the other side of the ball. Open three for Harrison Barnes. Of course, we're so attracted to Steph Curry and Klay Thompson on the outside of the court that we really just left other guys open. Harrison Barnes took advantage of it there. Right here, they have Ryan Hollins coming off their bench, knocking down a nice mid-range jumper. So they increased their lead to double digits, but our boys didn't stop fighting. There's a nasty turnover from KJ McDaniels trying to get the guy off the curl screen, but our guys didn't stop fighting. And again, I mentioned this in this episode too, our boys actually play hard. They play really hard. Of course, we don't have the same firepower, we don't have the same talent as the other teams in the league, and honestly 2 wins at this point is more than I expected. Starting off this season, we had a pretty tough schedule, man, but we got 2 wins, one against the Charlotte Hornets and the other was against the LA Lakers. But going into the 4th quarter, we are down 69-64. Now think about how high powered this offense is, the Golden State Warriors. We only let them score 69 points through 3. If we continue to play some good defense like this and actually put some more points on the board, we can actually run away with this victory. Right here, nice little pass from our new starting point guard down to Dwayne Dedmon. Now, since we lost PJ Tucker, I'm pretty sure the guys in the front office are looking for another perimeter guy to be on our team, because KJ McDaniel was our backup shooting guard slash small forward, but now he's in the starting lineup. And now the next guy off the bench is Spyros Marcos, a guy that we said probably shouldn't hit the court this season, but he's actually been playing big minutes because of the injury. And right there, nice shot by Steph Curry, kind of unreal. We know him to be making plays that people have just never done before. Now here in the 4th quarter, we're only down by 4. Good defense on Draymond Green right there. He pulls that 3, but it doesn't go in. Board by us, and now we're running into 3-on-4. We get a wide open guy in the corner, but he does not take the shot, and we get a nice open look there. So luckily for us, we did turn nothing into something, and we drop it down to 2 points. This 4th quarter was a hard-fought one, but some things happened down the road that turned the game around completely. Good D right there. Andre Iguodala doing some dribble moves in the paint, and we turn this to another bucket. Jordan Adams actually playing really well late in this game. Like I said, we expected him to be one of our main offensive threats. It just hasn't really worked out that way. Now down by 6 with a little over 2 minutes left, Joffrey Laverne draws that foul. As I said, he got Bogut into foul trouble very early, and now late in the 4th, he's still in trouble, and Joffrey Laverne is at the free throw line. Now, Joffrey Laverne is a 90% free throw shooter. Remember that, 90% free throw shooter, and he misses both. Now, those are 2 huge free throws late in this 4th quarter. Hopefully, it doesn't come back to bite him. So we give it back to him because he's been having a stellar game, a career-type night. Another foul drawn by him, this one on Draymond Green. The 90% free throw shooter shoots the next one, and it's a miss. 3 straight misses from Joffrey Laverne. The 4th one goes up, and he makes it. Now, if he makes those first 3, you never know what this game's going to be. But since he missed that one, things went the other way. Nice pass right there by Steph Curry, turned into an easy bucket by them, and it kind of falls from there. So this young team, this Spirits team, looked good for 2.5 quarters. The 2nd quarter killed them, and late in this 4th quarter, it did not go their way. So the Golden State Warriors are going to walk away 11-0, and the Spirits are going to drop to 2-8. So in the next episode of this, we're actually going to go through the first 10 games, kind of break them down. What is our team doing really well? What are they doing bad? And before we end the episode, of course, I got to answer some questions. Now, this question comes from Shamik. I'm pretty sure that's how you pronounce it. Sorry if I'm butchering that. He says, I noticed there are a lot of empty seats. How do you plan on filling the arena and gaining support from the people of St. Louis? And that one had 15 up, so a lot of you guys thought that was a really good question, and I'm one of the people with you, man. That's a huge question. Like, that's a huge deal. St. Louis is not a huge market, and we need as many people coming to the games as possible. Now, I know our people in the head office actually have been talking about this a lot, and there are going to be a lot of promotional days, bobblehead nights. Like, who's going to be on the bobblehead? Not too sure yet, because we really don't have a star. Bobblehead nights, family nights, and what they actually did, the prices in the very first game of the season were pretty high. Honestly, it's the first game for a franchise, so of course the price is going to be really high. But since then, the prices have almost cut in half. So tickets are really cheap, and hopefully that's enough to bring fans to St. Louis. Now, if you did enjoy it, be sure to let me know. Comment down below some more questions you want me to answer. This has been Christopher Madison, and I'm out.